We now live in a very different world. The crimes that are being committed right under our noses are many, and it would be impossible to cram them all into one video, so I will stick with what is at the top, bubbling away on the surface for all to see, the dark broth below intended for everyone to consume. People are dying. Children are dying from an experimental new technology produced by a criminal cartel of pharmaceutical companies, forced and mandated into people by corrupt politicians under the instruction of the World Economic Forum, the World Health Organization, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In the UK, weekly deaths are now 20% higher than the last 5-year average, and this figure is steadily increasing. The last 5-year average also includes 2 years of apparent excess deaths from a killer virus sweeping the world. Yet more people are dying now. More people of a working age are dying. More teenagers and children are dying. In the US, one of the largest life insurance companies has reported a 40% increase in claims, stating that a 10% increase would have been unpredictable and would only happen after a major event such as a war. So, do you think we might be at war? Sudden adult death syndrome, as it is now called, or just sudden death for those unfortunate enough to have not reached adulthood, is a new and growing spectacle. Dig a little deeper and what you will find is that heart attacks and blood clots are killing people daily, and this now includes young, healthy people. It now includes children. This phenomenon began immediately after the first wave of inoculations and has since continued. It was highlighted clearly by sports people dropping to the floor in great numbers in their places of work, right under the watchful eye of thousands or even millions of spectators. Yet amazingly, some could still not see the wood, even for the felling of the trees. By official statistics across historically used and recognised datasets, this inoculation has caused more injuries and death than collectively all other inoculations in the history of inoculations. Pfizer attempted to suppress their short trial data through the courts for 75 years, and after this was rejected and subsequently released, it showed a list of hundreds of potential and known adverse reactions ranging from minor to life-changing to fatal. But what do we really expect from an industry whereby 87 billion in fines has been paid since the year 2000 for exactly this type of criminal behaviour? Only now the manufacturers have legal indemnity. So why would people do this? Surely we can trust our politicians and governments to protect us. Yet it is our very leaders who have locked us up, stopped us from seeing dying relatives, stopped us from seeing each other, shut down small businesses, caused massive inflation and irreparable economic damage, and pushed for an untested new technology to be injected into your bloodstream, not once but several times in the space of a few short months, all for a virus that behaves statistically like a bad flu. Klaus Schwab, the Bond-like villain who heads up the World Economic Forum, openly boasts of having placed people in positions of power via his Young Global Leaders program across the world. Blair, Merkel, Trudeau, Macron, Ardern, to name a few. C-suite people across banking, finance, power, energy, tech, media, military. They have decision and policy makers in all aspects of life. They even highlight this on their website if you care to take a look.
What's happening? The future is built by us, by a powerful community as you here in this room.
Does that remind you of anyone? Mid-20th century, Austrian dictator, had an odd moustache. Yeah, that's him. So the future is built by us. Does he mean you and me? Well, of course he doesn't. As he says, the future will be built by a conglomerate of elites looking down on the proletariat, the worthless mouth feeders that we are. The people at Davos also regularly discuss the need to reduce the population. Now that is a topic for another video, but does one wonder why those so dedicated to reducing the world population also advocate the ongoing injection of a dangerous technology into the arm of every living soul? What we are witnessing is the emergence of a global superpower pulling the strings of every government across the Western world. Globalism is a term commonly used, but what does it mean? If we have an open globe, so to speak, who controls it? Who runs the show? Well, we are now bearing witness to what globalism means and who controls it, and it looks suspiciously like fascism or communism, but really, what's the difference? It's centralised totalitarian control. Remember, you'll own nothing and be happy. Think about that statement. The Great Reset is the digitisation of everything, including perhaps the human soul. And this is what the future looks like if these elite, unelected psychopaths get their way. A global digital currency run by a centralised bank. A digital ID measuring all aspects of your life, where you go, how you get there, what you buy, who you're with, and what your inoculation status is. If you enjoy the freedoms and liberties such as going to the pub, the shops, and going on holiday, you will only be able to do so if your carbon credit score checks out, and if you have had the latest injection mandated for you to access normal life. But don't worry, it'll be safe and effective. It is concerning and frustrating enough to know that this is a likely outcome my daughter will face in her future, but even more so the fact that we are letting it happen. How have we become so docile? Multi-million-dollar propaganda campaigns telling us what is good, what is bad, what to think and how to live certainly play a part. But social media and big tech platforms are an obvious distraction and as addictive as any drug. As such, they're having an overwhelming detrimental effect on society that is undeniable. Though these platforms also offer a solution, we have the means to communicate with each other like we've never had before, to be able to learn and share information in real time across the world. We are able to highlight the lies and the crimes being perpetrated by the politicians, by the elites, by the corporations, using facts, data and statistics, and who knows, maybe even a little common sense. But those who engage in this endeavour are often called names like conspiracy theorist or tinfoil hat. And that is exactly what the people at the top want. They want us divided. Yet, what could be more unifying than the genocide of men, women and children across the globe using a bioweapon? What could be more unifying than the destruction of freedom and liberty by unelected authoritarian rulers using orchestrated crises? But to unify, we must stop being so distracted. We must stop looking away. In the future, I would hate for a conversation with my daughter to go something like this. What was freedom like, Dad? It was great. We could come and go as we pleased. We could enter buildings and go on holiday without having to take a dangerous injection. I could own things. I wasn't being constantly monitored and I had control over my own money. Wow, that sounds great, Dad. And what were you doing while these authoritarian changes were happening? Well, I was watching Gogglebox. I was taking selfies. I was scrolling through Instagram. Sorry. Was everyone doing that, Dad? No, my love. Some people tried to highlight what was happening, but most of us laughed at them, ignored them, called them names, and even fell out with them. That is not a conversation that I want to have, and I am sure you don't either. We can only turn the tide on what is happening if we come together in great numbers. It no longer matters whether you're jabbed or unjabbed, whether you're left or whether you're right, whether you're up or whether you're down. We need to truly unify. And that needs to be structured. There needs to be an organisation we can get behind. I truly hope that the Reignite Freedom movement is just that. Please have a look at the link in the post. Sign up with your email, show your support, and let us all descend on our collective capital cities and make our voices heard. Let them see our numbers. Will it be enough? I'm not sure, but we've got to start somewhere and we have to do something. Peace.
Come gather round, people, wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, then you better start swimming or you'll sink like a stone, or the times they are a-changin'.